Halloween in RuneScape comes in two flavors. RuneScape 3 and Old School RuneScape each have their own unique Halloween events. And this year, just like any other, the nature of the events is quite different. And in each event, some things were done better than others. So, let's jump right in and check them out. Good day, everybody. Now, if you're already subscribed to my channel, A, thank you. B, you're probably mainly a RuneScape 3 player. But I'm going to start this video with the Old School RuneScape Halloween event. Being that most of you play RuneScape 3 already, you're quite familiar, but I think it's good to take a peek at this one first for a few reasons. I also want to mention quickly that for Old School RuneScape, I am using the HDOS client as opposed to RuneLite or the base client. If you don't already know what this is, and if you're wondering why it does not look like 2007 Scape, it's because it looks like 2009 Scape. This is what HDOS does. It brings the graphics of the 2009 RuneScape HD updates into Old School. Now, besides that this is just my preferred client and it works better on my big monitors, I do mention this detail specifically concerning the Halloween event. The HDOS team has outdone themselves and added a lot more Halloween decorations and ambiance and even music to the core Halloween areas like Remington, Draenor, Lumbridge, and Varrock. A lot of NPCs are in costume, including Tool Leprechauns and various NPCs around Varrock that you can trick or treat from. More on that in a second. And they even added their own Halloween quest and added NPCs around that. So I admit this video comes a little bit late as the Halloween event is almost over this year, but if you're interested in checking that out, definitely check out HDOS and give that a try anyways. So, onto the event. It begins in Varrock at this giant cauldron of treats and these three kids. You talk to the kids and they will tell you that you need to trick or treat around the world. Mostly around Varrock, but around neighboring cities as well, where a few NPCs are trick or treatable. This means that you just right-click people and trick-or-treat them. You need to collect a Halloween costume and a treat cauldron from the kids first, and what that means is that all previous holiday items are now available for you to pick up and collect, and to trick-or-treat, you just need any combination of at least 3 of them. So, super fun. You can make your own little Halloween costume, and then you just run around the world trick-or-treating. You'll get hints here and there as people will tell you certain NPCs that will give you either more treats or characters that you can visit around the world throughout Falador, Varrock, Draenor, etc. And that's the gist of it. You run around trick-or-treating. Sometimes you get tricked and an NPC will teleport you away, or sometimes someone will spawn a ghost in this instance. Bring your Ghost Speak amulet, by the way, in case that happens. There's a special treat if you do. And that's the gist of it. Once you collect a bunch of treats, you dump them into the cauldron in Varrock, and then you can collect a bunch of cosmetic rewards. Namely this cobweb cape, for starters, and this spider hat, which as you keep adding treats to the cauldron, you will unlock different cosmetic overrides for it, based around a few bosses, so that's pretty fun. The plus side of this event is that it is, it's just neat. It's a fun little extra thing you can do. It doesn't take too much time. You can put as much time as you want into it, depending which cosmetic rewards you want. The very big downside that old school players are already familiar with is that this Halloween event is a solid copy-paste of last year's Halloween event for Old School RuneScape. When you go into the Halloween update post on the Old School RuneScape page, the very first thing you see is this disclaimer or this note of, hey, we want to be totally transparent. The Old School team has recycled this event because they are working on a number of enormous projects at this time, including Varlamore, a massive new land expansion that they are saying is the biggest expansion yet to come to Old School RuneScape, which is impressive. Leagues, which is a entire incredible game mode that happens periodically, and then various other updates to quality of life and major features, or major gameplay elements, I should say, like the Chambers of Xeric, one of the biggest raids in Old School RuneScape. So that's the con side of this. It's a repeat of last year's event, but either way, still kind of fun and still great if you just want some simple holiday cosmetics and some nice, cheerful, humorous dialogue around the world to break up your grinds. Now let's check out RuneScape 3's Halloween event. Bit of a disclaimer here, I might sound biased as I speak about this one. I'll try my best not to, but this one has come up with even more complaints from the community than the recycled old school event, so let's just get right into it. This year's event centers around Pumpkin Pete and a tiny bit of necromancy. You speak with Pumpkin Pete to get started at Fort 4 and 3. He gives you this old pumpkin helmet that you can check and charge it up by smashing pumpkins around the world. What that actually means is that pumpkins will appear as you are skilling. This is identical to the function of the Saren Spirit if you're wearing Grace of the Elves, as most players are familiar with that. Anyways, every several minutes that you spend skilling, a pumpkin will appear and you can smash it and get some Halloween oddments. 25 per smashed pumpkin. Halloween oddments are used to purchase specific rewards for this event, like cosmetic overrides and animation overrides, things like that. And of course, experience lamps unless you're an Iron Man like myself. Smashing pumpkins this way is a fairly slow way to get oddments. The other slightly faster way is to wait for every 30 minutes past every hour for a pumpkin party that will occur at either Fort 4 and 3, Lumbridge, or Draenor, I believe, if I remember right. At which point you gather in the designated city, and smashing pumpkins, or some pumpkins to smash, whatever, will spawn throughout the area. After a few minutes of running and surging around looking for extraneous pumpkin spawns and smashing them, you'll find that you end up with probably around 500 Halloween oddments. Seeing as the base rewards cost about 1,000 Halloween oddments, and many of the more expensive rewards cost several dozens of thousands of Halloween oddments, you have quite a grind ahead of you, unless, of course, you take advantage of Treasure Hunter, as the Grim Harvest from last year, I believe, is back and can reward you Halloween oddments. As with every MTX holiday event in RuneScape 3, there are very rare chances to get some special items, like, for example, an ensouled pumpkin head, which is unique to holiday rewards via Treasure Hunter or holiday events in general because it actually affects gameplay a little bit. It prevents candles from going out in Tier 3 necromancy rituals. The base pumpkin head that you get by speaking to Pumpkin Pete does the same thing for Tier 1 and Tier 2 rituals, but this ensouled pumpkin head does it for Tier 3 rituals. Now, this isn't that big of a deal technically, since that in the long run, even if you're going for 120 necromancy, the amount of time and money this saves you from relighting candles is not great. But here's the biased part I mentioned earlier. The egregious, let's call it the egregious part of this being a part of this Halloween event is that this is an item that directly affects gameplay or gives you some advantage in gameplay, and it is MTX'd, meaning it's purchasable and it's very rare. Most players are not getting it even after smashing thousands of pumpkins, which obviously takes a long time to get through. Now, this comes right on the heels of about a month or two ago where the Hero Pass released and then quickly removed one of the rewards, which was a damage reduction buff for the Zamorakian Undercity, aka Elite Dungeon 4. Players revolted against this because it is a purchasable, it's pay to win. That's the common expression for it, right? You can earn a buff like that through a ton of hours of grinding the Hero Pass, or you can just buy your way through the Hero Pass and then get 20% damage reduction for your Zamorak runs. That is pay to win. That is something that RuneScape 3 players never want to enter. Actually, that either Old School or RuneScape 3 players never want to enter the game. And so the RuneScape 3 team pretty quickly reversed that and removed that from the Hero Pass, only to follow up with this. Now, again, this ensouled pumpkin head is not that big of a deal as far as its actual impact to gameplay, but it is another example of something that you can pay for that directly makes gameplay easier for you than other players who didn't pay for it or didn't get extremely lucky during this promo. This does open the slippery slope, so to speak, for other things like this in the future, and so understandably a lot of the player base is upset that after Jagex's promise to never do something like this again, here it is. Alright, end of rant. I started with the con on this one. The pro I will touch on with this event is that although they cost a crap load of Halloween oddments, there were a lot of actually cool cosmetics released that you can purchase with Halloween oddments as a part of this event. There are a lot of the core RuneScape characters' outfits, but like a shadow form that can be purchased through Halloween oddments, like Ariane's or Sir Owen or Ozan's outfits, so they actually look pretty decent. There are also a lot of Halloween-themed weapons and armor and other gear that are available for purchase with Halloween oddments, so I think these are actually cool. A lot of cosmetics that the RuneScape 3 team has come out with in recent years have not been that great or not really worth purchasing, at least. These are actually pretty cool, so it's a step in the right direction in combination with the update right after the Halloween event where a lot of other, what are they called, off-duty guard outfits are available solely through the purchase of rune coins instead of treasure hunter gambling. The cosmetic scene seems to be headed in the right direction. We don't have the avatar overhaul yet, but at least this is something. Alright, that about sums it up for these two Halloween events. In short, Old School's Halloween event is a short and sweet activity you can do separate from your daily grinds, as is traditional for Old School RuneScape, and you get some nice fun cosmetics out of it and some nice fun little adventure along the way. As a bonus, if you use the HDOS client, you also get another quest and some nice better decorations around the world. RuneScape 3's event is also equally on brand with its other Halloween events, in which it is closely tied to treasure hunter promotions, and it's more weaved into your daily regular grinds, and you'll just get bonus holiday rewards for doing your regular gameplay. As I mentioned before, both of these events have their ups and downs. One of them has received a lot more revolting complaints from its respective player base than the other, but to each their own. Each does have something nice to offer, so if you aren't familiar with both events, or if you only play one of the two RuneScapes and are curious about what the other one is up to, here it was. If you're still watching and made it this far, thank you, I appreciate you very much. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see other fun RuneScape content, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to my channel. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next one.